actually, I'll start with a quick story because actually I was in my local park and I saw a bunch of young boys kind of high-fiving as they were saying goodbye to each other. And I realized that we actually bookend our conversations and interactions with people by kind of being physical, whether it's hugging or handshaking. And so I'd love it if you would humor me and just close your eyes and grab one left hand and right hand and pretend like I'm going to give you a handshake, if that feels good. Um, I'd like to say thank you to start with for L&D Shakers for having me here today. I'd like to say thank you to Andrea, who, if you've spent any time with her, is a wonderful person because she has done so much for me to help me put together today's workshop together. So thank you. And I'd like to also thank everybody here in this room for coming along and sharing with me the next 52 minutes or so. And just to let you know, I will try and keep as close to the 6 or to the hour as possible, but I will also be staying on for 10, 15 minutes if that's useful for anybody with any questions. Yeah, so thank you so much for turning up. I'm guessing that this room is full of, you know each other from L&D Shakers, but also maybe friends of friends. So I'm curious to know who is in the room. Actually, before I get into that bit, I want to say that I want to make this quite experimental. And because it's an immersive, I want to move forward quite quickly. And I know that, how many have we got on the call at the moment? 33, wonderful. That means that the fear of speaking, which affects 75% of us, that's approximately 24 of us in this room. And I'm still putting myself in that bracket because the reality is it never really gets much easier. So I'm just going to put myself on gallery view so I can see everyone a bit better. Yeah. So it affects, and it doesn't really matter if you are feeling very, very confident. Actually, maybe let's just see. On a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being I'm absolutely terrified of public speaking and I normally kind of go dizzy and pass out. That's a 0. And up to 10, which is this is great. I've totally got this. I'm just coming along to steal some of your slides. If you might have a moment, put that in the chat now. And just let me know how you're feeling and let's get a kind of a flavor for the room. Good. There's some 7s and some 6s. I love a 6.5. 6.5, but 7 here. Okay, there's a 4, 3 remote. Okay, interesting. Yeah, that difference between in-person 6 to 7 and remote 3, and a 4 there from Kevin as well. Well, look, let me then share whether you're at Island A, which is in the lower 1, 2, 3, 4, to Island B, which is 7, 8, 9, 10. To get from there to there is absolutely learnable. And I know that because that's been my experience. I grew up as the youngest of 6 boys. There was very little room for me at the table. I didn't have much of a voice. Even when I did speak, I never really felt like anybody was listening to me. I remember a little bit later when I was 13, hating English literature class, you know, the classes where you have to read books and they make you read aloud. And I just feared that moment when my teacher would say, Ben, you'll go. I would just curl up and I'd struggle for the next, God knows, it was an out of body experience. I got bullied when I was 15, which meant that I hid away in toilets and in the library to not be seen. I hated putting my hand up. Anything that drew attention to me, I really, again, wanted to curl up and die. So I never really wanted to talk much. And that meant that when I became a kind of a manager in my professional life, that actually I didn't know how to take up space. I hated Monday morning stand-ups, powwows, and I really didn't like having to do difficult conversations as far as whether that was feedback reviews or negotiating salaries. And so I want to say, firstly, there is hope. And I hope today that I'm going to share with you some things that I've felt really easy or good for me that's been helpful. I think the point that changed for me was when I went into coaching and did somatic coaching, which was kind of cognitive coaching, the rational side, somatic coaching, which is again soma being in the Greek for body, about the emotional part of dealing with my feelings, understanding my nervous system and learning how to regulate it, as in to calm myself down when I was feeling fight or flight. But then also the embodiment part, which allowed me to understand that by changing my physical behavior and my habits, I could feel differently and I could act differently. And yes, those parts around self-awareness, nervous system regulation, about calming myself down, and then physically changing my posture laid the foundations for the speaking skills that came on top of that. So I meet people in my Toastmasters and they come in and one of the first things they say is, I need to deal with my nervous system, my nerves, my nervousness. So the body is the main part of that, and that's what we're going to explore today. So let's do this, shall we? Let's just take a moment to get into our bodies, if that's okay. I would like you to invite to do any movement that feels good. You may be sat all day. You're welcome also at any point to stand up. You can tap the body, you can tap the face, you can rub the skin, you can make any movements, or just yawn. Just yawn, feel a stretch that feels good. Cool. Let me share with you some slides. Let's do this. Okay, so I've done it. And my understanding is that if you wish, well, if you go up to the top left-hand box, there's a view piece, the view button, and then you can press side by side, because I'd like to keep my slides quite simple and not distracting. And if you find me, hopefully I'm a small box on one side and you can drag the center cursor to the middle, and then you get half me, half my slides. Fab. Okay. Please, if you have any issues, please reach out to Andrea and just give her a shout, and she will hopefully be able to aid you. Okay. What I'd like to share with you is the three things that became very useful for me when moving from a very terrified, unconfident speaker that felt very dizzy to somewhere I am now, which is somewhere higher, let's say, in a better place. And they are three main areas. They are you, your physical body, your physical being, how you are in the moment. The second one is skills. So we will be going into the body, as I love to say, is your toolkit. So how to use your body to communicate both to yourself, but also other people. And thirdly, what I find is very helpful is structure. Being able to take whatever I've created, whether it's prepared or not prepared, but have an understanding of structure that helps me then use my words in a way to create clarity for my listener to then drive an outcome which I am planning for. So, all right, if I press here. There is an elephant in the room, and I want to share that. It's a beautiful elephant. Communication is hard. Flat out, it's hard. It's hard because we're talking cross culture, cross different languages, between different genders, between different ages, between different hierarchies. There is so much going on. Some people have understanding of nonviolent communication. Some people have better kind of emotional intelligence when it comes to that. So there's many different things. So I want to share with that to start with. And this is one of my three understandings, which is it's not easy, and we're here to practice. Which brings me to my second underlying rule, which is we're always learning, and I want to invite all of us to be okay with mediocre, just like I'm practicing and I'm trying. Because I think if we are always wishing to try and learn, then we start to, there's always spaces to get better. And thirdly, communication is just a relationship. It's a relationship between you and yourself, between maybe the voices in our head, which I think we all deal with, but also then the individual or audience in front of us that we want to create safety, trust, connection. So keep those in mind. But let's move into ourselves. Our first part is you. And so what I'd like to explore is a time when you felt unconfident. If it feels okay, and I don't want this to be overwhelming for anyone, and please, I want you to choose something that doesn't feel too much. I'd like you to, whether you close your eyes or you think about or you visualize a time when you've been in a conversation and either something has changed or something has happened, and all of a sudden you felt unconfident. And if you wish, again, because I want this to be immersive, if you wish, you can stand up. Sometimes standing helps to kind of activate the feelings in the body, the memory. And we're going to break this down into 3 main points. I'd like you to grab a pen and a piece of paper, and perhaps you have the handout. I want you to just write T for thoughts, F for feelings, and S for sensations. And I want you to really kind of build some self-awareness, firstly, around what were the thoughts that were going through your head? Because all tools, all skills start with self-awareness. Where am I today? So I'm going to invite you to do that now. Piece of paper, a pen, and your thoughts. How do they feel towards myself? I can't do this. How do I feel about other people? I want you to think about your feelings. These come in emotions: feared, scared, worried, apprehensive, happy, sad. And the S for sensations. And I'm just going to move forward to the next slide because sensations are really what we're looking for here. And sensations can be divided into 3 main areas: movement, pressure, and temperature. Just allow you some time now, just to make a list. Just give you 30 more seconds. I'd like us to share this in a minute, and we'll go into the chat as there's a lot of us. But again, the thoughts, the feelings, and the sensations. And again, really getting a felt sense of how that conversation was for you. Presentation. Okay. So I'm going to open up the chat, and I'd love it if you might share with me what were some of the thoughts that went through their head about yourself, or to the other person or the group. Maybe it was an audience of people that you were in front of. I can do better. Not clear. Mm-hmm. What if they don't? Yeah, they don't like the content. Absolutely. She's not interested. Great. They know this. Yeah. What if they ask questions? Absolutely. Yeah. And I'd like you to share now about some of the feelings, let's say, the emotions that came up. So we've got some cognitive understanding here. Frustration, worry, disappointment. Yeah. Nervous. Right. Anxious, deflated, scared. Yeah. There's some really quite intense. Hmm. Yeah. Interesting. That low energy piece and how we can be sapped because there's just a lot of stuff going on through the body. And finally, I'd love for you to share the sensations, knowing that under each of these emotions are a level of physiological sensations in the body, vibrating, tense, shaky. Yeah. Shaky legs, shaky voice, spinning, intense. Yeah. Great. So as you're writing those in, when you're done, I'd love for you to stand up. Take a moment out of your seat because there's a few things that we can do now. And I'd like to share those. Some of what we're looking at is around, well, let's say public speaking, speaking in groups, speaking in general can cause this fight or flight process. The nervous system becomes dysregulated, the heart rate goes up, the hands go sweaty, the knees go weak, and becoming aware of these feelings. So I'd like for you to just take a moment to feel your feet on the earth. One of the best ways to get over the strong emotions is to become very present orientated. You can ground your feet into the earth. You're welcome to take your hand and perhaps put it on a part of your body where you might feel the most of this, what we call activation. Bringing awareness to these feelings, the tightness, the shaking, the burning, and also starting to elongate the breath. Having a cuddly animal like a cat can also be very helpful. Yeah, they can be co-regulating. And I also want you now just to, if it feels good to take your eyes away from the screen, is just to look around the space that you're in. Through embodiment coaching, we're learning to re-regulate or regulate the nervous system, these harsh, intense feelings by learning a level of safety. So keep feeling your feet into the earth, or if you're sitting down, not a problem. You can feel your bum on the chair. And just allow yourself to be with those feelings to start with. Bringing awareness to, yes, the discomfort, but also bringing a level of safety. present moment tricks allow us to take us away from the fear or worry or renew kind of the worry about the future. Will this person do this? Will this person worry about me? Will this person or these people in effect reject me at the end? So taking ourselves into the present moment by connecting with the sensations in our body, feeling the bum on the chair, our feet on the floor, and taking some nice long deep breaths can help bring us to a sense of becoming a little bit more calm before then presenting. So this is your first part or point to look after yourself. And let's move on to number 2. Maybe you've heard of the 7:38:55 rule. This is just an adage, it's not scientifically proven. But the idea is that communication is only 7% words, what we're actually saying, the content, and actually 93% the way that we're saying it, and also our body language. What's beautiful about that is that this can become an incredibly powerful tool for, firstly, what we've just done a minute ago is to help communicate in ourselves a bit more calm, a bit more confidence, a bit more present moment. But it can also be the thing that helps us connect with other people because they are the people that we're communicating with. So understanding by, again, using our body to start to bring ourselves into a place of calm, then means that the relationship that we're building with the other person or people also becomes much calmer, much more present, and more connected. Your whole body, whether you use your eyebrows for this, or you give someone your ear when you're listening, or the way you might clench your jaw or soften your jaw. You feel free to roll these, do these with me as I go. If your shoulders are up, bring your shoulders up. Bring your shoulders up and then release them. How much do our shoulders say? Shoulders back. You can, how tight is the belly? If the belly is very tight, how does that affect versus relaxed? I'd like to share with you my 3 S's. If you might be willing, please stand. Take a moment to get out of your seats. Give yourself a shake out. That is not the first S, by the way. Just shake out. And I'd like to share with you these 3 S's, which I think are really great. Or certainly when we're going to use our body as our instrument and tool, these can be really good to start with. So what I'd like you to do, standing in what we call a neutral position, after we've just calmed ourselves with feeling our feet into the earth, I'd like you to take a medium step forward and bring your foot bring your weight of your chest and your body over your front foot. So as if you're coming forward. And your back foot is still there. And our first S, the up and down, is spine. Just by taking a step forward and being in this position, elongates our spine. It brings our shoulders back. It gives more space for our ribs to expand and our diaphragm to move down. So more oxygen for our breathing versus tense and tight. Feel free to do this with me. Come back into that back foot and round everything round, and just kind of get a feeling for how your breath is here and how if you may want to create, how you might talk from this place. And then come forward and just the body learns from contrast. So just get a feeling for this kind of elongated spine. The chin comes up. Great. This is a really good one for, when businesses talk about executive presence. Just holding up your spine gives you a sense of presence. So from this position, on that step forward, I want you to keep your shoulders and your spine the same and your face looking forward. I just want you to bring your back foot next to each other, but keeping that lovely elongation in the spine. How might talking from this place be beneficial? The second S is what I call star. So I want you to take your feet wider, keeping that spine nice and tall. Just take the feet slightly wider, and I want you to bring your hands out just into a star position. Hands out at the sides. Just get a felt sense of this and how you might communicate from here. This is a wonderful position that it shows the front of our belly, which is the most vulnerable part in our body. It tells ourselves that we feel safe, or role models that we feel safe, and can start to help other people feel safe. So bringing your hands out, it's a great position for creating psychological safety, which is very similar to physiological safety, to feel safe, to feel welcome. And the third S is smile. When you smile, you soften your cheeks, you soften your jaw, you soften your shoulders. It's difficult to smile if you can. Smile and bring your shoulders up. Have really clenched shoulders and then try and smile authentically. So from this position with an elongated spine, feet slightly wider, hands slightly wider in this star shape, taking up space. We talk about taking up space at the table, taking up space in the office, taking up space in a meeting room, and smiling and softening. And with these three S's, just get a felt sense of what this is like and how communicating from this position might be. Welcoming people in, offering a space, being receptive. Using our body as our instrument and tool to make us feel better and the others around us. Just take another felt sense, more moment to feel that, and shake it out. So, of course, it does feel a bit strange if you walk into a meeting room like this. But by practicing this gently, from a standing position, I can elongate my spine. I can bring my hands out and go wide in my feet. And I can smile. So already we are now using embodied techniques to improve our communication ability. Anything else I need to say about that? I think so. Okay. Then let's move on, because the time is always ticking and 1 hour is definitely never enough. I'd like to share, actually, just before we do, if you'd like a moment, a couple of minutes, just in the chat and just see or share what was different about that. Did it feel unfamiliar? Was there anything that felt necessary to say at that point? How might you use this? And if not, that's cool as well. Hmm. Oh, yes, indeed, Maria. Wonderful. Using that superwoman position, whether that's hands on hips, absolutely. They are very simple and very nice ways of using it. So great that you're doing it. Felt bold and at the same time calming. Yeah, lovely. Really nice. Yeah, can be done before a discussion. Yeah, it feels good to do the star shape when sharing tips for practicing for job interviews. Yeah, absolutely. Helping people feel comfortable. And this is also, someone actually mentioned previously, I had some lovely people talking about one of the questions that I asked around about what is confident communications about. And someone mentioned around Zoom. Now, I think in Zoom, we're very used to kind of sitting passively and kind of giving people our face if we're good, or maybe our face down here. Sometimes I've been chat meetings like this. So taking up space, but also having the option. I think I'm now standing maybe a couple of feet about, that's probably about 1.5 meters. My ability to stand here with my hands open to you to show you my belly gives more information to the other person, which subconsciously stops us from wondering, what is he doing? What's he doing with his hands? Or even more strange, which I think is, I don't know, I'm not sure if I can do the blurred screen. Showing people what's in your background subconsciously shows you you've got nothing to hide. So there's many things that we can play here with how we're being online with people and being conscious of that. Okay, feels good. Very nice. It's all in the body. I think we need to read about more embodiment. Please feel free to reach out if you need any books or thoughts around this. Okay. I will also, yes, let's move on. Okay. So our third point, because we're moving swiftly towards having to say goodbye. What's been really good was structure for me. Having learned the somatic techniques of listening to my body, the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations, and becoming aware of them, allow me to unpack the emotions to get an understanding of, oh, my shoulders are getting tight, my head's getting dizzy, my heart is racing. And coming into being ready in the moment to then using these positions like the spine, the star, and the smiling. The third point is the structure. I'm going to explain to you 4 structures. And what I'd love for us to do, or you to do, is I'm going to explain these structures and we're going to do a speaking exercise in breakout rooms. I will put you in breakout rooms of 3. Do not worry. Andrea will put the information into the chat now. Andrea, if you could do that, that would be wonderful. There are 4 I'd like to share with you. These structures allow us to take an understanding of how to clearly communicate something. And so I'm going to run through with you for the next couple of minutes. And then I'd like you to choose which one you would like to use. Don't worry, they all have QR codes. I know there's probably some Gen Z people in here. So if you have your phone, you can QR code. And also we'll be putting the links in the chat as well. The first one, know, feel, do. A wonderful structure to help understand at the beginning of your speech or speaking or presentation, team meeting, what do you want someone to do? That might be an action that they need to take. What do they need? What would you like them to go away and do new in a behavior? Because if you know what that is, you then understand how you need to make them feel, whether that's inspired so they go out and do it, whether that's focused so they get on with their work, or whether that's happy because it's someone's birthday. And therefore, you need to know what they need to know. And that is around what's the information that they need to know to make them feel a certain way. Oh, okay. Oh, I know that information. It's important because it's to do with my work and it's to do with end of quarter things. Therefore, I feel more motivated to do it. Therefore, I'm going to go and do it. Okay. Second structure. Problem, solution, benefit. Whether it's a 30-second conversation or whether it's a 30-minute meeting. Problem, what's the problem that I'm dealing with? What's the solution that I need to happen? And then finally, what's the benefit for us, the environment, you and I? These 3 very simple steps make it very clear to somebody very quickly what needs to get done, and means takes the struggle out of what you're needing to communicate into those 3 simple steps. Structure 3, the rule of 3. I love this one, being born on the 3rd of March. I think it's very clever, and I've been using it all the way through today. So, where the rule of 3 works, understand what your message is. The message is, you need to get this done by the end for Friday. What's your call to action? Bring that in. And then I want you to back it up with your 3 points. Point 1, point 2, point 3. And finally, when I summarize 1, 2, and 3, this is the call to action. This is what I need you to do. You will have time to review these, don't worry. And finally, the message and call to action, CTA. If you're going to make anything as simple as possible, think of an egg. You've got the shell at the beginning, which is the message. What's the most important thing that this person needs to know? And what is the thing that you need them to do? You can say that in 2 sentences. If you've got longer to speak with somebody, you can put all of the gooey feeling in the middle of why they need to do it and the reasons for it in the middle, but always with that message and call to action, you have a structure immediately. Thank you, Andrea, for putting it into the chat. Please now take a moment to grab one of these. It's just a practice. There is no right or wrong. This is an experiment. And you will be getting all of these so that you can take them away and use them for future. I just want you to use one of them. What we're going to do is for 10 minutes, we're going to put you into a breakout room with 2 other people. They will be your audience. I'd like you to either click on the Google Drive and open it up so you have it. I want you to review it. You're going to take 3 minutes just to fill in a box. If you have the handout, I'm sorry I didn't come to it a bit earlier. There's even a fold line which will help you speech it, say it out loud. I want you to create what you're going to say, 7 to 10 centimeters, 7 to 10 sentences, and then you're going to share it with your 2 other people, and you're going to do it one by one for 60 seconds, and that's it. It's a 60-second structured, and you can talk about maybe something that came up earlier when we were talking about unconfident conversations. You can pick an object up at home, like a green tea. Or maybe you have a presentation or a speech coming up soon and you want to just outline it. So let me put this into gallery. There we are. So Andrea.
Yeah, we will have, I think, around 6 breakout rooms.
Fabulous.
And maybe in some rooms we will have 2 or 3, because we're not, yeah. Check the second.
Great.
All right.
We'll also put the information at the of the instructions into breakout rooms as well. We'll broadcast that. Good. I love breakout rooms. People are normally, I'm terrified to go in, but when I come back, everyone's like smiling. Who's that? It's a bit Marta's. I love Marta's smile. Really nice indeed. So we have a few minutes. I would absolutely adore if anybody would like to share how that was. What came out of that? And if you wish, you're very welcome to put it in the chat as well. Ah, Alessandra,
Can I share?
please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you actually for this webinar, for this whole experience. Thank you for my teammates in our breakout room. Thank you for listening. We actually didn't have enough time to practice, all three of us. So I was the one. And the thing that I actually ended up with and that I wanted to share is that when I started like practicing, when I started my speech, I understood that, I forgot everything that we just did, like all the body practices, all this stuff. I forgot about this all and just like spoke as I usually do. So I think that, for me, it would be like, actually, it will be a great thing, like great output from today's event, as like, try to keep in mind all this stuff, like not just separately when you're practicing, but right in time when I have to do some speech, when I have to present, when when I inside public speaking. So that's yeah, and this is probably like my challenge right now.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much. Why not? Let's bring that together. Thank you. Yes, it's there are a few different layers here to remember, and I hope that you, even while at this moment, there's something that you'll take away that next time, whether it's oh, okay, I can use this this structure, or whether it was around okay, I just need to step forward and bring my spine up. And it really is a very not simple, but just little things that start to come in and allow that to slowly embed. So thank you for that. Anybody else?
Marta, with your permission, I actually feel like sharing.
Thank you, Victor. Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Ben. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
We did a little bit of a freestyle session with Marta. So basically, we used two frameworks to introduce ourselves,
Oh.
and then we create a joint pitch with one other framework. And actually, our point was all about collaboration. So I'm realizing now, Marta, that we even, we packed it up. But we were trying to think about this idea, our pitch, our main idea. We use the rule of three, right? Is when people collaborate, magic happens, right? And debunk this idea that collaboration is all about business and growth and all that stuff, because we were thinking about these beautiful projects, Wikipedia, Linux, Marta is collaborating with a project that has a social impact. I don't think we collaborate because of the outputs that we generate, but because of the pleasure that we get out of collaborating. And I actually wanted to share this because I lived that experience collaborating with Marta into coming up with this speech. Now I can feel how joyful I feel after that collaboration. So the call to action would be, let's have more sessions to collaborate with one another.
Yeah. Yeah. Lovely. Very nice indeed. If I might build on that, the idea of yin and yang, two energies that oppose or conflict or come together, there's a third energy that's created, and out of that is creative energy. And so, as you say, it's not just yourself, Victor, and Marta, it's the two of you and everything else more that you create together. Very nice indeed. Are you two going to collaborate together?
I don't know. Who knows?
Let's see. Well, thank you so much for playing with it, and lovely to introduce yourself. Absolutely. It can be kind of used anywhere, and thanks for being creative with all of it. Anybody else? Anything else that you'd like to share or go, oh, that was useful or interesting? Or if you might have some questions. Oh, Diana, I saw the one down here. It was a nice structure to the message. Story differently. Yeah, I am looking forward to the practice other storytelling techniques as well, or physically preparing before actually delivering the story. Thanks so much. Great. Yes, absolutely. Preparation. Thank you so much. It is 2 minutes past 6. Just to let anybody know, please feel free to hang around if you wish. Yeah, preparation, something that I will also add in the send out tomorrow or the next day with what's been the topic of today is what I like to call framing questions, which is, who's my audience? You know, who are they? What do they know? What don't they know? Why might they resist? What are their objectives? What are my objectives? And when we just go through those framing questions, and of course, if you're in the moment with somebody, and it's on the spot, sometimes you don't quite have that opportunity. But for example, if you're going in for a negotiation with somebody or a feedback session, or you need to give a presentation like this or a talk, knowing who your audience by having, I think it's about 10 questions, framing it means that storytelling becomes far more applicable to your audience, and it resonates with them better because you've done that questioning. And yes, anything else? Delightful. Andrea, thank you so much for putting that in. Okay. If you have a moment or two, I wanted to share just I hope it's helpful. I'm just going to share my screen again. Very quickly, there's all my details. These bits were in the invitation, but these are five things that people, I thought, were very varied, that people shared around confident communication. And I'll just go around them, and if anybody resonates with any of them, starting from the top, clarifying well, let's say being able to refute an argument right on the spot. I often don't quite have the words in the moment. And again, what we did around that grounding and centering, I'm conscious around that refuting, which means to show that someone's wrong. Again, bringing back that, what is a relationship? And when it's we're in an extreme moment and we're on the spot and it feels threatening, it could be being able to ground ourselves in the moment, smile, soften, all of those things, trying to connect with the other person can start to help build a better connection. But also it helps the part of the brain, the front part of it, the thing that's, you know, the clever thinking, cognitive part, to reawaken, to come online again. Sometimes when we're kind of shocked, everything can start to close down. Confidently communicating in the moment when I have a more reflective personality. There's some wonderful work in DISC, which is around what type of person you are and what type of communicator you are. And yeah, sharing with somebody, this is the way that I communicate, I think can be very powerful there, to allow somebody to be respectful of the way that you think, and also for you to not think that they are rude. People do think differently, and people need more time to consider their answer. And so I think it's powerful to say up front, this is the situation, I need some more time. And I think that's respectful of each other. Deal with people that don't listen. I think for me, that's just a patience thing. A patience thing, and asking somebody and wanting to connect with them. Sounding confident in difficult conversations, like delivering negative feedback, being more assertive. I would love to say that I think these structures work very nicely in that sense, because it allows, instead of it being sometimes these things can get emotional, it can be much more structured and more considered when it comes to the feedback that's important to give to that person. Again, also allowing that person to feel safe and welcome physically, building psychological, physiological safety with that person. Also benefits in that non-verbal communication stance. And finally, clarifying myself, what is the main message? And again, that structure as well there today. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope, if there's anything else that people would like to say or share, please do. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you all for turning up, for being involved, for standing up, shaking it out, practicing some stuff. And thank you and Jaya for looking after us. Wonderful technical work, and also L&D Shakers as well for holding this space and this wonderful community of people wanting to learn. For now, let me cancel my screen sharing. Let me redo it here. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Ben.